This is a live look down in Idaho Falls Street where police have blocked off the road. We can see the city's SWAT team has been activated and several police officers are in the area. Now this is happening on Benton Street near Linden Park Elementary School. Police are not saying what is happening at this moment, but they are asking people to avoid the area. Now, according to the school's Facebook page, students were secured in their classrooms until they were released to their parents safely. And police said that they will tell us more when this situation ends. You can get updates this evening. Stay with us here on Local News 8, also on our website, localnews8.com, or our app. Now to Shelley, Hobbs Middle School was placed on lockdown while police search for a possible armed and dangerous person. This happened just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. And Shelley police reported on Facebook to avoid the area between the middle school to East Fur and between Fur and Milton Road. They lifted the shelter in place about a half hour later. No other details have been released. Now reaction continues to a U.S. Supreme Court draft opinion that indicates a majority of the justices are ready to overturn Roe versus Wade. Karen Kafer reports from Washington on what this means for the court and for Americans.
President Joe Biden describing a draft opinion from the Supreme Court that would overturn Roe v. Wade as radical.
It would mean that every other decision relating to the notion of privacy is thrown into question.
The Supreme Court has confirmed the authenticity of the document published by Politico Monday night, a draft of a majority opinion in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, a case regarding Mississippi's law banning most abortions after 15 weeks. The case is a direct challenge to the precedent established in Roe v. Wade in 1973 and affirmed in Planned Parenthood v. Casey in 1992. The government cannot interfere with an individual's choice to terminate a pregnancy before viability outside the womb at about 23 weeks. A right protected under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. The draft, written by conservative Justice Samuel Alito, describes the reasoning in Roe as exceptionally weak. On Capitol Hill, Senate Democrats, without enough votes to codify the right to an abortion into law, laying blame for the potential reversal.
Women in this country are paying for the fact that the Republicans have basically sabotaged the Supreme Court.
While Republicans critical of how the draft came to light.
This lawless action should be investigated and punished.
Chief Justice John Roberts said in a statement he has ordered an investigation. The Supreme Court said Tuesday the document is not a final opinion. The highly anticipated opinion is expected to be among the last issued this term in late June or July.
Now there in the beginning you heard President Biden say if this decision were to go through, he calls it, quote, it would be radical. Now, back in 1981, the New York Times reports social conservatives pushed for a constitutional amendment to allow individual states to overturn Roe v. Wade, again in 1981. The amendment cleared a key hurdle in the Senate Judiciary Committee in March 1982. At that time, support came not only from Republicans, but from a 39-year-old second-term Democrat senator named Joseph R. Biden, Jr. At the time, Senator Biden said the decision was, quote, the single most difficult vote I've cast as a U.S. Senator, end quote. Now, reaction from Idaho's congressional delegation. They responded to the leaked draft opinion. U.S. Senator Mike Crapo said in a written statement, quote, the deliberate leak of a draft opinion is a brazen attempt to intimidate Supreme Court justices into ignoring the rule of law and undermines the institution of the court. States should have the ability to protect the right to life and the rights of the unborn. The Supreme Court must remain independent from political pressure tactics when issuing its final decision, end quote. Now continuing, Idaho Congressman Mike Simpson responded, saying, quote, the fact that this draft opinion was leaked represents a serious attempt to hijack a trusted institution, and that should alarm Americans regardless of their political ideologies. The person who leaked the draft should be investigated and held responsible. My thoughts on the issue have always been clear. The rights of infants, mothers, and health care providers who oppose abortion must be protected, end quote. And U.S. Senator Jim Risch said in part, quote, the most basic right we have as humans is the right to life. Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided, and correcting that mistake is the right thing to do. This leaked Supreme Court draft opinion is only a draft, and the contours of the ruling may change. No ruling is final until it is published by the court, end quote.
Working on some more showers tonight. Yeah, we've got the unsettled conditions still with us as an area of low pressure that's currently parked over southeastern Idaho, bringing in the rotation, bringing in that counterclockwise rotation. The showers now coming in from the northeast, and you can see the area of low pressure is parked here, and the showers wrapping around that pocket of low pressure, and that's sending in the wet weather right now out of the Snake Highlands through parts of Idaho Falls, and then further out towards the Arco Desert, towards INL, and then now into Bingham County. We're starting to see a bit of this wet weather as well, with the showers continuing here for tonight. 43 degrees right now in Rexburg and Idaho Falls, 38 for Driggs, 40 in Jackson. Wind speeds have calmed down significantly since yesterday as things have begun to calm down, with the area of low pressure getting right overhead, and we've lost the cold front, but now we're stuck with the cooler temperatures tonight with lows back in the 30s. Coming up though, nicer weather in the forecast here for Wednesday and Thursday. So coming up here in just a bit, we'll talk more about what to expect here as we get into this weekend with another round of wet weather on the way. We'll send it back over to Todd.
All right, Michael, thanks for that. We do want to go back to our breaking news at the top of this newscast. Again, the standoff type situation in Idaho Falls on 9th Street, near Benton Street, also near Linden Park Elementary School. Let's go right now to the Idaho Falls Police Department PIO, Jessica Clements. Jessica, tell us what happened late this afternoon, about the time, I guess, that the elementary school was to get out.
So we're out here on the corner of 8th Street and St. Clair. Officers responded out to this area, actually over on Benton Street, a street over, at about 4:00 p.m. for a report of shots fired. While officers were responding to that, we came in contact with another vehicle. That vehicle did take off from us with a person inside, and there was a pursuit that went towards Shelley. So there was a police incident in Shelley, a police response there as well, where we were just looking for that person. We're still looking for that person, and we'll have some information about that shortly. But meanwhile, back here on St. Clair and 9th Street, we did have a larger police response. We have been trying to have some people in this residence come out for a little while now. I can report at this point that things are coming to a resolution. We do have 3 people that are detained at this time, 1 from the earlier traffic stop with the vehicle, 2 more that came out of this house. And at this point, people should start seeing police officers leaving the area. We're wrapping up here. People are welcome to come and move through the area if they would like to. We just ask that they be respectful of the police officers and the space that they need to continue to wrap this situation up.
Okay, Jessica, real quick, it was about the time that school was to let out. Linden Park Elementary School nearby was put on lockdown. There was concern from parents. Was there ever any concern for the students to remain in school?
So Linden Park was placed on lockdown briefly, and then our school resource officers and the school administration worked together to make sure that kids got home safely. Putting the school on lockdown was a precautionary measure just because we had a police response and the things that we had going on in the area at the time. That was all. It was just a precaution. But we do appreciate parents and the school working so closely with us to get that done safely.
All right, Jessica Clements, PIO.